Welcome back to Got the Magnet. For those of you who are new here, my name is Joe and this is my wife Susan. We are full-time traveling. For those of you who are returning, my name is Joe and this is my wife Susan and we're full-time traveling. You'll learn I never missed the opportunity to take a cheap joke, and that was it. We're talking about our transatlantic cruise on Royal Caribbean's Explorer of the Sea, which was a 14-day cruise from Port Canaveral to Barcelona, Spain. What day are we up to?
12 and 13.
Yes. After many sea days, we are finally at the end of the voyage and we are hitting a bunch of ports. The first port that we're going to discuss is Málaga, which is a city on the coast of Spain, good place for a ship to go to. And it dates back to 1770 BC. It was founded by the Phoenicians. And like many of these cities, it's been conquered many times, which means there's a lot of ruins because every time one civilization took over, they buried the past. So they've been unearthing new things all along. We decided to do this on our own. What did we do? What was the first step?
We got off the ship and went on a bus to take us out of port.
The port is walkable. They let us know ahead of time. You are able to walk from the ship to the town, but it's a long walk. It's 20 to 25 minutes, and it's a bunch of shops and restaurants. When we were on the bus, it looked like a really nice destination amongst itself. There were little shops and a little flea market up there. But we paid the €10 each for a round trip, and it is cash only. You buy tickets in the terminal. It was a seamless process thing getting on. And then where do we intend to go?
To the bull ring?
Yes, we were going to go to the bull ring. It's no longer active, but it's a museum. But we figured we'd wander and see what we came across. First thing we came across was Alcazaba. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. That and what we thought was a Roman theater. The Alcazaba is actually a term for a fortified palace. It differs slightly than a castle. I'm not going to get into that. You can Google it if you're looking for more information on it. And a Roman theater. The Alcazaba, it was very nice, but what was the downside of going there?
You had to walk many steps up the hill. We only went maybe about halfway and we decided we couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was neat to check out. They had restored a lot of the format of before, the fountains and everything. It was gorgeous. There were a ton of school children there. And one thing we've learned is no matter where we go, school children are allowed, especially the boys. We decided to head back down to see what we can do. We didn't even get a chance to see the Roman theater, but the next day we did, and we'll get to that momentarily, little teaser there. But what did we do afterwards?
Went to see the Malaga Cathedral church.
That was impressive. It was €9 each to get in, but it included an audio tour, and the cathedral was massive. We got there around noon, and they had a mass going on. Obviously, we were respectful of it, but it was just neat to see the tributes. This church is thousands of years old, and seeing that, if you've watched the videos in the past, Sue is a big fan of cathedrals and churches, and whenever possible, we try and hit them. Did you like the church?
Very much.
Yeah. We were in there over an hour, so it was definitely time and money well spent. And I think we just wandered around the shopping plaza after. They had made a pedestrian area out of their shopping district. It's very walkable, all kinds of shops, especially food and restaurants. And I know there were a couple places we were drooling over the bakeries and the chocolate. There's one they were handing out samples. Oh, it was delicious. We had to run away or otherwise we were going to buy them. We knew when we got to Barcelona and other cities, we would indulge. We were good on this trip and tried not to eat off the ship. We headed back to the ship for lunch, just worked on some videos. I probably took my afternoon nap, which is a regular staple. For dinner, this was one of the highlights of the cruise. What night was it?
The royal night was Lobster Night, where you can get a lobster tail, and I got the French onion soup and a baked Alaska cake and ice cream.
Oh, that's right. Even though baked Alaska is ice cream, we got ice cream on the side. That was good. Royal Night is usually the second to the last night. It's the way of the cruise line reminding you how wonderful it is. So you go home with good memories. It's generally referred to as Lobster Night. In the olden days, people could order unlimited lobster tails. That has stopped because some people have overindulged. You order one. If you want second one, I believe it's around $17. But you can get a surf and turf if you want. You can get a lobster and a steak. But based on what we eat, that would have just been wasted. I had the escargot for appetizer, but I also had the lobster and the baked Alaska for dinner. The entertainment for that evening, what type of entertainment was it?
Hector Ruiz, the magician.
What'd you think of him?
I thought he was really good. He started out with drawing a bowling ball on a piece of a big cardboard paper, and then he would flip the paper and a bowling ball dropped.
He was very entertaining. He reminded me a lot of David Copperfield. We just saw David Copperfield a couple months ago in Las Vegas, and the show reminded me of a lot of his acts. At the end of David Copperfield, he has a car come out based on his childhood dreams. Hector Ruiz had a red motorcycle appear on stage. My question is, because he travels from ship to ship, how does he transport that motorcycle? That won't go on your carry-on luggage. That was the one question. I've given up trying to figure out how magicians do it. Let that be their secret, and enjoys the fun. So far on the cruise, you having a good time?
Very much.
I'm not sure if I've mentioned before, but we had taken an 8-day cruise last year. And by the end of it, I was ready to get off. This, going into the latter stage of it, I would stay on for another couple weeks. One of the most fun things I've done on this cruise is just riding the elevator. This group of people, I think, has been the most interactive, pleasant people where we can just have random conversations in the elevator. I even joked, and I think people would see the humor of going to the Windjammer buffet, grabbing some cookies and handing out cookies and just riding up to see if people get the humor on it. People actually even thought my idea of, they announce every floor, like first floor, second floor, a British woman's accent. I think they should have a random generator where different accents, different people for the floors, just to keep people on their toes. Afterwards, we did our daily pizza. After the show, because there's usually a wait for the elevators, we go up 2 floors, have a slice of pizza while the elevators clear out, and then head back to our room and go to sleep because we are not party people. Woke up the next day, and what port were we in?
Cartagena.
Cartagena is another ancient Spanish port. It was founded in, I believe it was 227 BC. Like most of these towns on the Spanish border, it has changed hands many times. Each time they buried the civilization. So there is a lot to uncover in Cartagena. This one we did book an excursion via Royal Caribbean because I thought it'd be neat to do. Met the excursion, got on the bus, did a city tour. It has a rich history of it. And it was also the birthplace of the first electric-powered submarine. They're very proud of that fact. And we drove around for, what was it, about 20 minutes?
Yeah.
We pretty much wound up across the street from the cruise ship. The primary thing we were going was the Castillo de la Concepción. To get there, we had to walk up a hill, but before we went up to the castle, the tour guide took us on a detour. What was the detour?
We saw the Roman Theatre.
This was a Roman theater that they had unearthed not that long ago because they were building new apartments over old ones. And in that part, you have to excavate anytime you do anything because there's so many ruins. They found this very well intact Roman theater, and they're still in the process of uncovering it and restoring it. We started up the hill to the castle, but what got everybody's interest even more than the castle?
Peacocks.
It's in a park area, and there are scores of peacocks. I think that was what people were interested in more than anything. I don't think any of them were showing their full feathers, but they were all over the place, and it was just a lot of fun. They were screaming a lot, the peacocks. They're not quiet animals.
They actually do live there.
Yeah.
they're wild animals.
I walked to the top of the castle, learned a little history of the castle, but it probably gave one of the best views of all of Cartagena.
We got to walk around like the 360-degree view of the area.
Again, there were a lot of school children in the area, and there were chess pieces all over, and they said, don't touch them. They're related to the children's activities. So I'm not sure what they were doing, but we did see kids walking around with giant chess pieces. Hopefully they learned something from it. We walked back down the hill, and then where was the next stop? It was the Museum of the Punic Wall. They have an area that has, from the ancient civilization from the Roman era, that is extremely well preserved. They have a museum that tells you, and you can actually see what life was inside the walls, because they had two walls, but there was living space in between and storage space. That was very well restored. Then we drove down the street to literally across the street from the cruise ship, and we had some free time. What did we do in our free time?
Just walked around.
Our tour guide had recommended a local favorite of Cartagena, Asiático coffee, which is coffee with condensed milk and liqueur, 43 liqueur, which is a secret 43 ingredient that is native to Cartagena. It is one of the products they are most known for. The lady was very nice. She explained how they were made, and we did post that as a YouTube short. It dates back to when the Asian sailors would come in to port. This is how they would order it, with coffee, condensed milk, because they didn't want the milk to spoil while they were at sea. If they had liqueur on board, they would mix that in. Cinnamon was a regular product that they were carrying on board. It was very fascinating, and then we just walked around and headed back to the ship for my afternoon ice cream and afternoon nap. What was dinner that night?
While we were at the Punic Wall, we also saw the crypt.
Right.
So you got to go down and see. There were some little holes that actually had bones in it and everything.
I forgot about that. That is where they used to bury their dead, in the crypt down there.
For dinner, it was the taste of the Mediterranean. We had spinach and regatta quiche. For the main course, I did the chicken piccata and pistachio creme brulee. I liked everything except for the pistachio creme brulee. It just tasted like a regular creme brulee, which I was a little disappointed because I was expecting the pistachio taste of it.
I had the lemon curd tart, which was okay. The meal was fine, except for I prefer your quiche and your chicken piccata. But it was good. Had a good time. We had some time to kill before the end of the show, before the show started. We went out to the helipad, which we've shown on previous videos how to get there. It was sunset, and we got some really nice pictures of the sunset. And it's just a nice, quiet place to get away from people on the cruise. I don't know why more people aren't out there. Not encouraging them to go, just at least if we're not on, because it's a nice, peaceful place to get away from the crowd. What was the entertainment for the evening?
Barricade Boys?
The Barricade Boys. It seems to be a trend with Royal Caribbean singers. They meet in Broadway or West End productions. This is no exception. They met doing Les Mis. I think it was on Broadway, but it could have been the West End in London. They were fabulous. They did several numbers from Les Mis, but they covered a wide range of music. They did Motown, some rock. At the end, they did Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. I struggled with that. They said Queen never performed that live because it was so difficult. They performed it flawlessly. It was wonderful. They should have closed with that, because they closed with where their roots were in Les Mis, which they did a fabulous job. But after the Bohemian Rhapsody, the place went wild. They had a standing ovation. They had the crowd leave them wanting more. That would be my only knock against them. The entertainment on Royal Caribbean has been fabulous on our last couple cruises. We like magicians, we like comedians, we like these variety singer type thing. And even stuff like the piano player. They were all really good. Royal Caribbean is doing a fabulous job. A couple things I forgot to mention is the waiter in the theater got to know us. We'd walk in, he'd look at me and say Jack and Coke. He'd look at Sue and said chocolate martini. Even if we didn't want one, we were getting one. And this is where our 4 diamond drinks came in. Because we're diamond members, we each get 4 drinks a day. We'd save 1 or 2 for the end of the night at the show. The other thing that I forgot to mention, for several shows beforehand, they had on the screen interactive trivia. It was about 10 questions and you played on your phone. I'd come in first place the first 2 times they did it. This was the last night, yes, and I only came in third. What's sad is I didn't get one question wrong. I got 100%. Somebody was just a little quicker. I think she cheated. Thanks for joining us. And this is our second to last video on this cruise because coming up is day 14 and day 15, where we finally make it to Barcelona. Remember to like and subscribe to Got the Magnet, and also check us out on Facebook and Smooth Sailing Chronicles on Facebook and Instagram. We will see you for day 14 and 15.